Guys, honestly, work-life balance, I'm still figuring it out. It's a process because it changes. What's up, you guys? It's your girl Angela with The Aspiring Boss. Welcome to my channel. Hello if you're new. Today's video, we're gonna get into this Q&A. So I did a poll on the community tab on Instagram asking you guys the questions for a Q&A, and also did some questions on Instagram, and I got some good questions. It's Saturday and I have a lot to do today, so I'm gonna try to get through as many questions as I can. And if you have more, then we can do a part 2. But yes, let me go ahead and pull up the questions. I'm gonna start with YouTube. Pull up the questions from the community tab. While I'm pulling those up, subscribe if you haven't already. Okay, so I got the questions up and I didn't specify whether I was gonna share people's names, so I'm not gonna say names just in case. Some of these questions are like 2, 3, 4 questions. So we're gonna see what we can get through. So first question is, why did you pick corporate law? What's your schedule, days on and days off? How many vacation days do you have in Houston or Missouri? Also, I'm so glad I found your channel. I'm still figuring out what field I want to go in. I enjoy binging your videos when I should be doing homework. Girl, like, I think it's okay to binge videos and watch videos that are informational. I appreciate the support, it's very much appreciated. This is why I'm doing this content, for all of you guys who think you might want to be a lawyer or something and you want to kind of really get, you know, the tea on it. So thank you. Okay, so your first question I'm gonna answer is, why did you pick corporate law? So I did a whole video on this, so I will link it up here. But the short answer of corporate law is, for one, I knew I didn't want to be a litigator. Although I can be very extroverted, and I probably would have a ball in the courtroom, you know, talking to the judge, like, you know, putting on a story, putting on a show, especially like, you know, you think of like criminal law, I like that aspect of being a litigator, but all the other aspects just aren't me. When I think of like the doc review and writing memos all the time and analyzing case law, it's just not my jam. It's not my jam. It's really what law school is, and luckily I can be good at it, but it wasn't my jam. And then another reason is because I knew I wanted to work with businesses. I knew that the knowledge that I'm obtaining now would be with me forever, no matter what happens in my life. If I decided to leave the law firm tomorrow and go work for a company, I could. If I would decide to start my own business, so much of what I'm learning is just helpful in so many other areas of my life and people around me, people I know. I have several business owners in my family. My boo is a business owner. So really knowing how to drive contracts, how to form companies and things like that, I just thought was super valuable and could take me anywhere in life. So that was a big reason why I chose corporate law. But again, I did a whole video on it. Go watch it. And what's your schedule, days on and days off? Okay, so I recently started doing work week in the life vlogs, and so go check those out. But basically, you know, Monday through Friday standard, like you're gonna wake up, you're gonna work. It's not a 9 to 5 though, so you're most likely gonna work in the evenings. Like, go watch my work week in the life vlogs. Y'all will see me up at midnight working sometimes. It's just a profession. And you also work weekends. So there is no set schedule for lawyers. There is no clock in, no clock out. Like, I start my day when I feel like starting my day, you know, unless I have a call or something scheduled in the morning. If I want to start my work day at 7:30, I can. But if I have an appointment or errands to run, I can start it at 9:32. So there is no schedule when you're a lawyer. It's just not. That's not how it works. It might be different for people who work for a company, but for law firms, you're not gonna have a schedule. So the next question is, how many vacation days do you have? So I am not gonna answer this question personally about me, because I don't know what information I can divulge, you know, from my firm, like, you know, benefit, salary, whatever, but I will answer it generally. From my experience, from my knowledge, it just varies firm to firm, but a lot of times, you know, lawyers are gonna have more freedom in like what they designate as how many vacation days they wanna take. Honestly, it really just depends on the firm. There's some pros and cons to that, and like I said, I don't want to speak personally from my experience, but I can speak on a general level that it's not that rigid. But again, there's pros and cons to it, and that's all I'll say on that. The next question was Houston or Missouri. Missouri, although I am a Texas girl all the way, you guys, I did not make the decision to move out here lightly. Houston, while I love Houston, it's a great city, great food, it wasn't home. You know, I'm not from Houston. I went to law school there and got a job there. I have some really great friends there, but none of my family is there. Missouri is now home. I'm lucky that I'm marrying into a family, so I'm happy here. So I'm gonna have to go with KC all the way, baby. And we are the home of the Super Bowl champions. And I think we're taking it again this year. So yes, I'm gonna have to say Kansas City all the way. All right, so the next question asks, what is it like being a Black lawyer? Okay, that's a really general question. Like, I need you to give me more like in what context, but what I assume that you mean is, what is it like being a Black lawyer in a, you know, profession where we're such a minority? And I will say, sometimes it can be a little bit lonely, right? As much as we like to pretend like, you know, it's 2020, people don't see color, blah, 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 blah. Like the climate, look at the climate, like there are definitely a lot of racial issues that we have to overcome, even beyond racism, like just comfort, right? When I first started my career, I had this mentor. He was a Black partner, very successful guy. And one time he basically put it into perspective for me. Like we were talking about the experience of being a Black associate. Because at this point, I was the only Black associate in the firm. And so he basically said, the equivalent would be like you taking one of your white associate friends to your family reunion. Now, for some of you guys, this might not make sense because I know that more than Black people are watching this right now. But just think about that. Like, right? Like, how awkward would that be for some people to go to your family reunion? But I will tell you, there are a lot of Black bar associations, like associations for, you know, lawyers, and they put on these conferences and things like that. And when I tell you, I go to those and when I look in the room and everyone is Black, a Black lawyer, it's so just it's crazy because it's something I'm just not used to seeing. I'm always used to being one of few. And I'm like, dang, this is what white people get to experience every single day. But yeah, like I'm not gonna even sugarcoat it. Like, yeah, it could be lonely and it could be frustrating and you can feel like you are just different. And sometimes it's not even that anybody's not supportive of you or whatever. Sometimes it's just you don't feel comfortable. Like you're guarded. And that period. So next question, do you think both the prosecution and the defense are right? So I don't really know what this question was trying to get at, but I will say this, hopefully it's helpful. I don't know anything about criminal law, but I have heard people say the best defense attorneys are prosecutors first. Like they learn how to be a really good defense attorney by being a prosecutor. So hopefully that was helpful because I don't really know, I don't really understand the question. The next question is, do lawyers always follow the law or are some led by ego? I mean, they're human. There's definitely some people who are led by ego. I mean, yeah. The next question is there racism in law? And I'm thinking you mean in the profession? Of course there is. Look at the world we live in. Like there is no profession, there is no field that is, you know, accepted from the fact that racism is very real. People still experience it. People are still racist. So of course, like that's gonna be in every profession for sure. Like, yes. What are the salaries like? Benefits. So I get this question, I've gotten this question before and it's really hard to address because you guys, salary is gonna be different for so many reasons. Region, right? A person in New York is gonna be making way more money than a person in Nebraska. Like that's just what it is. The best thing I can tell you to do is research, you know, average law salaries in your area for what you want to do. If you're a partner in a law firm, you're going to get paid based on how well the law firm does because you're a part owner in that law firm. If you own your own law firm, well, depends on how much work you got that year. So it's a really hard question. Benefits, I can imagine that any firm you're going to get, you know, health insurance, life insurance, dental, vision, all the basic things. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the benefits. All right, so the next question is there ever homophobia in law school? And this is kind of like the racism question. Like, look at the world we live in. There definitely is. Did I ever experience it? No. And by experience it, obviously that would mean me seeing it because I'm a straight cisgendered woman. But like one of the people that I hung out with the most in law school, especially early in my law school career, was a gay man. And we did a lot together and he was well liked and, you know, I didn't see anybody treating him differently because he was an openly gay man. But it would be naive of me to see that and assume that people weren't homophobic, that there weren't homophobic people, because as a Black woman, nothing gets under my skin more when people try to tell me that racism isn't real. You know what I mean? Like, I've experienced it, I've seen it, and regardless of whether you think you've seen it because you have a Black friend, it's still real. So I would never want to be that person who's like, oh, well, I had a gay friend and nobody was homophobic to him. It's just the world we live in. Second part of the question is, are you an ally? Of course I am. I'm a Black woman. What would I look like judging somebody based on who they are? Like, no. Yes, I am an ally. All right, so next question. Well, it's not really a question, it's a comment. I'd love to hear more law school stories or tips on how to succeed in law school. Sis, just go to the playlist. I got a law school playlist of videos. Just watch all those videos. And if there are videos that you do want, just comment in this video of like what types of videos you want to see, or you can DM me on Instagram. But yeah, look at the law school playlist. Okay, so the next comment is from, like, I can't say my friend because we don't know each other, but she definitely been supporting the channel, and definitely we would be friends if we knew each other. And again, I don't want to say her name because I don't know if she's comfortable, but hey girl, she said, why M&A? Do you have interest in other areas of law? If you're not an attorney, what do you think you would be? So why M&A? I kind of already addressed that in the earlier question. So, you know, refer to that. But do you also have interest in other areas of law? I do. And that's a really why I like M&A, because I've said this before in another video, but with M&A, you get exposure to other types of law. Like, you literally are like the deal quarterback, and you have to work with real estate, IP, tax, finance, everybody. And so you get exposure to that. And it's really cool because it has allowed me to know things that I wouldn't know otherwise. So yes, I have other interests in other areas of law, but I will say, like, it's still all very transactional. I really just don't have any interest in litigation unless y'all just let me go to the court and, like, you know, talk to the judge. So if you weren't an attorney, what do you think you would be? That's a good question. I've never had any other career. Like, this was my first career, but I will say I would likely be a serial entrepreneur. And here's why I say that. I have a lot of interest, and although I tried to dabble in those interests, being a lawyer, this career, this profession, doesn't allow for a lot of flexibility. Being an entrepreneur, if I can have my hands in multiple things, would allow me to do all the things I want to do. So, like, you guys know, I'm interested in real estate. I have a big passion for children. Like, mentoring kids is my jam. I have to, in some point in my life, work some sort of program or nonprofit into mentoring young children, especially, like, you know, minority children or people who are disadvantaged. Also would want to do small business consulting. I would be a serial entrepreneur and do it all. Next question, any experience in real estate law? Yes, so I started my career as a real estate and finance attorney. So yes, I do. Do you think getting a master's in real estate or accounting before law school would be helpful for someone interested in going into the housing field? No. I mean, not that it wouldn't be helpful, but I've said this before in another video, but if you want to go to law school, or if you want to go to any, like, professional school, medical school, whatever, I just don't think you should waste your time getting a master's. Go for that JD, go for that MD. Unless, for a lawyer, unless you want to be a tax lawyer, then yes, you should go for the LLM and take the CPA exam and stuff like that. But unless it's very specific, just go to law school. You don't need to get into more debt to, like, I never understand why people, you know, go get all these degrees and they go to law school. Just go straight to law school, because let me tell you this. As a lawyer, law school and no other school is really gonna prepare you like actually practicing. It's just what it is. It's a learn on the job type of profession. So just go to law school. Student loan repayment. Any tips pre-COVID and COVID tips? I'm not sure if you deal with loans. Sorry for all the questions. No, girl, I appreciate the questions, okay? Keep the questions coming. I appreciate the questions, but I very much deal with student debt. It's probably my biggest restraint at this point. If I didn't have student debt, I mean, you guys, I would be a lot more ahead in life. COVID tips. Okay, so I know for people who have government loans, you can stop paying your student loans right now, but honestly, I would keep paying them because you don't have any interest right now. So it's money all thrown at the principal. I would say find something that works for you, but I am not one of those people who like, I'm gonna die with my student loans. That's just not me. I just don't I don't know any wealthy people who have that mentality, and I know I want to be wealthy. And I don't want to leave my kids with any burdens. I want to leave them with assets and wealth. All right, next question. I think I want to be a lawyer, but I'm worried about being in debt, like the income to debt ratio. If you don't work in corporate law, how can you make money? I don't know where this concept of, you know, working in corporate law is the only way to make money. And by corporate law, I assume you mean big law, because obviously that's where you start off making the bigger bucks. But so many people surpass big law. Like, you think of these personal injury lawyers who get that big asbestos case or something and, you know, make a ton of money. So I don't want you to think that there's only one path to go down for a lawyer to make money. Or you think of solo practitioners, you know, yeah, all that revenue, it's yours. I mean, obviously you have to pay operating expenses, but yeah, you're not working under anybody's hourly rate. So don't limit yourself with thinking there's just one track. With respect to like income to debt ratio, one thing you can do when you're looking into law school is law schools will have the statistics on what their average graduate makes, you know, post law school. I've been told being a lawyer is a bad idea if you can't go to top 14 and work in big law. Your opinion? Sis, watch my video. I'll link it up here because I can't remember what the title was, but didn't go to a top 14. Very mediocre LSAT score. Above average GPA. Graduated with 2 offers from the top firms in Houston. No, I don't agree. But also continue to watch my video. Well, I will say the better the school, the easier it is, okay? So I'm not gonna act like going to a good school doesn't put you at a better position, because that would be untrue. Next question is, how is work-life balance? Do you think it's doable to raise a family and do this job? Also, congratulations on your engagement. Oh, thanks, girl. So work-life balance. Okay, you guys, honestly, work-life balance, I'm still figuring it out. It's a process because it changes, you guys. As you get more senior, you realize that the stress that you thought you felt as a first and second year was not really stress, and you kind of miss that. And I think it'll only continue to be like that as I get more senior, because with more seniority comes more experience. With more experience comes more responsibility. So I'm still figuring that out. One thing I try to do is have a plan and have a schedule and really try to stay on top of things, so I'm not dealing with fire drills that ruin my whole plans, right? Like, you hear of these horror stories, and I just try to avoid that by like staying on top of things and trying not to procrastinate, so I don't end up in these situations. But I will say, like, you guys, just watch some of my vlogs. Like, literally sometimes my days get up, work, stop to eat dinner, and then go back to work. So I will say I have not figured it out during the weekdays. I mean, I have been like working out and stuff like that, trying to do things to make time for me. But what that usually means is I just have to work later. But on the weekends, I really do try to like limit my weekend work. Like usually Fridays I try to stop working. Look, like, I don't usually work, you know, super late on a Friday. And then Saturdays I try not to work, or very minimal, like first thing in the morning. And then Sundays I set aside a few hours. So I will say, like, I'm still figuring it out, girl. Then the second part of the question was like, do you think it's doable to do this job and raise a family? And again, I don't want to speak for everybody's situation, right? Because there are some lawyers who are in-house and they literally say that they work a 9 to 5. So I can only speak from my situation at working a law firm. I think that it's doable, but I think it's really hard and you have to make sacrifices. If you've been watching my channel, you've not seen my bonus babies, but I am a bonus mom. And so I have a little insight into what it's like, but I know it's nothing compared to actually, you know, being a birth mom who all the responsibility is on you. I see women in my firm do it and they seem that they're doing it well. I do think you'd have to adjust your schedule. Like right now, if I had a child to get to daycare or get to school and feed and bathe and clothe every single day, my schedule would look a little bit different, because I'd have to probably wake up at 4 a.m. I was just talking to one of my best friends about her life post baby, and she's just had to adjust her schedule to make sure she can do it all. So I think it's doable, but I do think it's tough because the job is demanding. Like, I even think about this sometimes where I'll be talking to people, or people will be requesting that I do something, or, you know, emailing me and asking me questions about certain things at all times of the night or on the weekend. And it's just like, a lot of times, like, they don't know whether you have kids or not. Like, they don't care, they want it done. I do think it's hard, but I do think it's doable. I see people do it every day. I think when I do get to that point, it will just be a point where me and my husband have to really work out a system and a routine. Okay, so this question says, why is law school a worthy pursuit for you? So I'm gonna answer this question for me. So this would be different for anybody else, but for me, it was a worthy pursuit because it was my dream. It's what I wanted to do. And I knew that I'm just the type of person, like, I know if I put my mind to something, I can be successful at it. And I knew that this career could translate into so many things, you guys. When people think of a lawyer, they think of like what they see on TV. But you guys, this degree opens up so many opportunities, that like endless opportunities. And although I went into law school very naive about a lot of things, I knew that being a lawyer would open up endless possibilities for me. I knew that. That is why it was a worthy pursuit for me. Then the next question is tips on confidence in the workplace. You guys, this is such a good question. Shout out to you, girl, for asking this question. It's such a good question. I've struggled with it a lot in my career, especially early in my career, because being a lawyer, again, you don't learn how to be a lawyer in law school, especially a transactional lawyer. It's completely foreign. And so you're always second guessing and just questioning your abilities. Like, as a young lawyer, that's just what it is. And now that I've been practicing for about 4 years now, I've really started to come into my own, trying to learn my own style, really thinking and really just feeling confident. And so one thing that helps me, I did a video on imposter syndrome. I'll link it up here. You guys go check that out, because imposter syndrome is so real. But one thing that really helps me is for me to remember who I am. Like, remember the things that I accomplished. Remember that I earned the right to be here, okay? This is not a fluke. This is not luck. I earned this right. And if I put the work in, sometimes it won't be perfect, but if I did my best, I'm comforted in that. So sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it too, right? Like, sometimes you aren't confident, but don't let people see you sweat. One thing I stopped doing that I used to do is say sorry. Like, oh, sorry. Like, no, just answer the question. Like, you don't have to say sorry. Or diminishing myself. Like, somebody says like, oh, great job. I'm like, oh, it was an easy project. No, I did a great job. Thank you. All right, so this next question is gonna be the last question, you guys, because this video is looking so long. I might even have to cut out some of the questions, because if I post a 40-minute video, y'all not gonna watch it. Next question. Since you work in a social group in Kansas City, do you have any tips on how to connect with like-minded individuals? I started a Black paralegal group on Facebook, but realized I didn't know any Black paralegals, hence the reason for the group. Looking for ideas to get people to join things. One thing you could do is like promote in other groups. So like one thing, when I moved to Kansas City, I was totally new, did not know anybody but my boo and his family, right? So I had to find a way to meet people and do things and look for people. And now I just really look for groups for just like-minded people for that reason. So I would look in other groups and make those connections in other groups and make sure they know about it. Also, one thing, I'm in a bunch of like groups on Facebook for Kansas City specifically. There is a Black-owned business group. There's Black businesses in KC. There's a bunch of groups. Make sure you let people know in there. So yeah, look at other groups and talk to people and connect with people in other groups and invite them to join your group. So I hope that is helpful. All right, you guys, so that's all the questions I'm gonna be able to answer today. Thank you so much for submitting your questions. I really hope you guys found some of this stuff helpful. If you have any more questions or video ideas, comment them down below. I always look at my comments, I read my comments. I try to address your questions in videos and things like that. Sometimes I've already answered them. And so make sure you guys look through my playlist. So I went through my videos and created playlists. I have a lawyer life playlist if you're more interested in like my life now as a lawyer and advice for the current practice of being a lawyer. And I also have a law school advice and tips playlist where it's all about law school and preparing to be a lawyer. So make sure you guys check out those videos. But that is all I have for y'all. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Okay, just do me one quick favor before you leave. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you get notified every single time I upload, okay? I will see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.